Let's learn some Torah. Today is another day that we get to talk about Parshat Bo, the third Torah portion in the book of Exodus. In it, we see the final three plagues, which continue the devastation of Egypt in a way that should cause no one glee. In fact, when the Israelites, we, sing on the far side of the Sea of Reeds after it splits, after we cross through the sea, we begin to sing a very famous song called the Song of the Sea. And when we do, the rabbis who in antiquity read these words, read the song, speak for God, which of course we don't and sometimes do. And they say that God shouts at the Israelites, and in a different version of the Midrash, shouts at the angels who begin to sing, saying, "How dare you sing when my children suffer?" So here we are reading the final three plagues, which is the devastation of the center of the known world at the time. Because Egypt was not only a place, it was the center of the cosmos for at least the ancient Near East. That's why when there was a famine across the land at the end of the book of Genesis, people came to Egypt, leaving even their promised land to find food, because the Nile's offering of fertility for the land and for people positioned it just so. Similarly, you might think of different financial centers of the world: New York, London, Hong Kong. And these trading places are the centers of the functioning of the world, even if we have different places that we consider more central. So when we look at these final three plagues, recognize that they are the plagues that affect the center of power in the known world. Locusts come because of the intransigence of Pharaoh. And when the locusts are threatened, even Pharaoh's advisors say, "Why are you doing this? Why are you letting Moses be a mokesh, be a trap for us? Let them go. Don't you see? Egypt is done. We're lost." Pharaoh recants after the locusts do come in, and the description of the plague should be something that we take to heart. The locusts come and not just eat the remnants of the field after the hail has already destroyed so much of Egypt's produce, but the locusts then enter the habitation of the people of privilege. The threat through Moses that God makes against Pharaoh is, these locusts will not just destroy the outside, they will touch you where you think you're safe. Positions of privilege often shield us from the impact of societal ill. That's not an ethical position for us to take. As Jews, we must show up in the world because every issue is actually our issue. If it affects my neighbor, the Torah tells me to love them as I love myself. So even if I feel somewhat safer than the most vulnerable parts of my society, Judaism calls me out. The opposite of that is what Egypt did and what the locusts called out. Egypt postured itself with higher echelons of society removed, safer, living in protected privilege. But locusts don't know from that. Locusts invade. And then the plague after, darkness. And the plague after that, the death of the firstborn. In our world, there are countless issues that make this felt. In our world, the issues of societal inequality, economic injustice, structural racism, gun violence, reproductive justice, these don't know the boundaries of status. Yes, positions of privilege give people more access to the things they need, but the plagues tell us that that is a temporary measure of safety. It's an illusion, because the distance between you and me became very clear during the pandemic. What affects you affects me, and I must take care of you. That's my obligation. If I don't, not only am I lapsing in my moral mandate according to Jewish values, I am also pretending that I'm safe. Think about what we learn about interpersonal dependence from a pandemic. If I think that the problems in Wuhan, China, are their problems and not mine, I'm forgetting how germs work. Now, even though the Torah is not speaking in terms of immunology, it's clear that injustice is everyone's concern. Locusts make that clear. What affects the field affects my table, affects my body, affects my neighbor, affects my child, affects me. I am in this. We are in this. Egypt was not structured in that way. And it's complicated to look at this story because it is not pleasant. Yes, we celebrate it. We sing about it on Pesach. We sing about it when we pray Hallel. We sing about it. We teach about it. We recite the Shema every day. When I rise, when I lay myself to sleep, when I kiss the mezuzah, the Shema is in it, and the story of redemption is right there. I embrace it. But how powerful and important and urgent it is to recognize that 36 times in the Torah I am told never to oppress the stranger, because I know, we know, what it is to be oppressed. Empathy is a Jewish mandate. Empathy reminds me that the boundary of my property is also an illusion. Ladonai ha'aretz umloa. God's is the earth and everything in it. And images of God abound. The most vulnerable and the most privileged are all equal images of God, all entitled to equal dignity, not just under the law, which should be the case and we should work for, but under heaven. Pharaoh didn't see it that way, only capitulated when he himself was touched, when he himself was grieving, because he lost something. But why should it take losing something to have an open heart? So friends, this is what I want to bless us with. Empathy. Empathy. And then recognizing in a spectrum that I've learned over and over in my human rights work, thank God for teachers of mine like Ruth Messenger. Sympathy. I'm so sorry for you. Empathy. Let me attempt to see the world through your eyes. Solidarity. I don't know what it is to be you, but I promise to stand by your side. Those are 3 steps that I encourage us to take. Sympathy. Really do notice, friends, and feel. Empathy. Try to see the world through eyes more expansive than your own experience. Solidarity. Recognizing that everyone's independent and individual experience is unfathomable to anyone else. But being a friend means standing with each other in our moments of vulnerability, not abandoning each other just because some of us feel more okay in a moment. Friends, blessing you. Blessing you with this spectrum, this journey. May you use what you've got during the time you have. Let me say it differently. May I use what I've got during the time that I have to be part of making this world a little bit better for others. We learn the opposite by watching Pharaoh's deeds. We learn empathy from reading the rabbi's reflection of God's disappointment when we sing at the downfall of somebody else. Everyone deserves to cross the sea. No one gets left behind when justice is done. Let's have a good day, friends. Can't wait to see you soon. All right, friends. Have a beautiful day. See you tomorrow.